Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here, and today we are discussing the scheduling of Tesla's second quarter earnings report and shareholder update, as well as Elon Musk's comments at the World Artificial Intelligence Conference yesterday. Tesla stock on the day today did finish up 2.1%, closing at an all-time high of $1,394.28, so not the all-time high that it's reached, but the all-time high close. That compared to the Nasdaq up 0.5% on the day. As we talked about yesterday, we were expecting Tesla to announce the date for their second quarter earnings call somewhat soon. That did happen last night, with Tesla announcing the date of Wednesday, July 22nd, after market close. For me, this was the expected date based on previous filings. I think some people have thought it was an early scheduling because the Q1 earnings were on April 29th and the Q4 earnings were on January 29th. But those were sort of misleading data points because Q1 was delayed because of the coronavirus situation, most likely. I'm sure Tesla wanted as much information on the situation as possible before holding the earnings call. And then Q4 is always naturally a week later. Anyway, back in Q3 of 2018, Tesla shifted their reporting up by 1 week, and they have followed that cadence pretty much except for that first quarter of 2020. That cadence for non-year-end quarters is the Wednesday of the third full week after quarter end, and it's the fourth full week after quarter end for the year-end quarter, or Q4. The reason I'm spending time on this is because sometimes if earnings reports are scheduled early, that means the company has good news and they want to get it out as soon as they possibly can. So some people are taking that as yet another sign that maybe Tesla is posting a profit for the quarter, but this date is not a signal to me, other than the fact that it is not later than normal. In terms of timing, last quarter, the update letter came out about 10 minutes after close, so people are going to be violently refreshing during that period of time. And then the earnings call follows a little bit later. Usually that's about an hour long. One thing that is interesting is this time the earnings call is scheduled for an hour earlier than usual. So 5:30 p.m. Eastern time versus Q1, which was at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Probably doesn't mean much, but if you are scheduling things around that, don't forget. The other thing to start thinking about too is what questions you may want to submit for Tesla to answer on the earnings call through say.com. We'll talk more about that as we get closer, but maybe let me know your questions in the comment section. Submission and voting for that usually opens up about a week before earnings. All right, next up today, what seems to be driving the most headlines are some comments that Elon Musk made on their autonomy progress at the World Artificial Intelligence Conference, which Elon made a virtual appearance at this year answering pre-selected questions. You may remember last year Elon did the dual interview at the WIAC with Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, which we'll say was interesting. Anyway, the headline takeaway from this year is that Elon said that Tesla was very close to level 5 autonomy, which he did say that, but I do think it's helpful to go through his full statement and put it into context, because with that context, it's not really too different of a statement than Elon has made many times in the past. That context actually starts with the question that Elon was asked, which was, quote, "How confident are you that level 5 autonomy will eventually be with us, and when do you think we will reach full level 5 autonomy?" End quote. If you're unfamiliar, level 5 means you don't have to engage under any condition, and the vehicle will drive itself under all conditions that a human could reasonably drive itself. That's scaled up from level 3, which is the first version where a human can stop paying attention, and the vehicle must alert the human if it needs to start paying attention again, and level 4, where the vehicle is completely autonomous and doesn't need a wheel or pedals, but can't necessarily operate in every single condition. So my personal theory is that Elon doesn't really care about these levels. It's not how he thinks. He approaches things from a first principles perspective. Can this car be capable of full autonomy, or can it not? Is the direction that we are taking in development one that will lead to full autonomy, or will it not? I think Elon's goal is full self-driving, and he's not worried about these terms or these levels. He's just focused on getting to full autonomy. So that's my opinion. I think that's important in the context of this question where they specifically ask him about level 5, and Elon starts his answer by saying, quote, "I'm extremely confident that level 5, or essentially complete autonomy, will happen," end quote. So pausing here just to emphasize that he starts by saying level 5 and then shifts to say, "or essentially complete autonomy," which maybe he's adding as a clarification, but I think he's shifting it more into how he thinks, even though you could make the argument that those are the same things. It's a bit semantical, but I think it is important. Anyway, he continues on from saying it will happen to say, quote, "And I think it will happen very quickly. I think at Tesla, I feel like we are very close to level 5 autonomy. I remain confident that we will have the basic functionality for level 5 autonomy complete this year," end quote. So Elon has described this concept of basic functionality before, and basically what he means by that is simply the car can handle all tasks sometimes. He gave specific detail on this in the Q4 earnings call, which I'll play a clip from now. I think it's important to hear.
The next question is, you set expectations that you would be feature complete on FSD by the end of 2019. Can you please provide an update on when will we see this with end users where are you in retrofitting the FSD computer to older models?
Well, I mean, to be precise, I said I was hoping it would be feature complete with full FSD by the end of last year. We got pretty close. It's looking like we might be feature complete in a few months. But feature complete just means like it has some chance of going from your home to work, let's say, with no interventions. So it doesn't mean the features are working well, but it means it has a above zero chance. So I think that's looking like maybe it's going to be a couple months from now.
All right, so when Elon says that they'll have basic functionality for level 5 autonomy complete this year, I think that's basically saying the same thing that he says in this clip, but he's phrasing it around the level 5 question that was asked. My point here is basically that this is a reiteration of comments that Elon has made in the past rather than breaking news. Elon continues on to say, quote, "I think there are no fundamental challenges remaining for level 5 autonomy. There are many small problems, and then there is the challenge of solving all of those problems and then putting the whole system together and just keep addressing the long tail of problems. So you'll find that you'll be able to handle the vast majority of situations, but then there will be something very odd, and then you have to have the system figure out how to train to deal with these very odd situations." End quote. He then continues to talk about how to train, you need that real-world data because nothing is more complex than what's happening in the real world. Simulation at best is a subset of that complexity. And then he concluded the thoughts by saying, quote, "We're really deeply enmeshed in dealing with the tiny details of level 5 autonomy, but I'm absolutely confident that this can be accomplished with the hardware that is in the Teslas today, and simply by making software improvements, we can achieve level 5 autonomy." End quote. So hopefully that's not too in the weeds for everybody. I think this is still good that Elon is reiterating that he's still confident. And while I do understand the headlines, I don't think there's much new information here. Elon did discuss a few other things in this session aside from just autonomy. The first was on Gigafactory Shanghai. The question was, how are things going at Gigafactory Shanghai? Is there any application of AI manufacturing specifically at Giga Shanghai? Elon replied saying, quote, "Things are going really well at Giga Shanghai. I'm incredibly proud of the Tesla team. They are doing an amazing job and I look forward to visiting Giga Shanghai as soon as possible. It's really impressive the work that's been done. I really can't say enough good things. Thank you to the Tesla China team." End quote. Nothing too surprising there. Elon has consistently been very complimentary about the progress at Gigafactory Shanghai. And then on the AI question, which I thought was a really interesting question, he answered, quote, "We expect over time to use more AI and essentially smarter software in our factory, but I think it will take a while to really employ AI effectively in a factory situation." End quote. So this obviously brings to mind the big push for more automation that Tesla and Elon had around the time of the Model 3 launch. And they seemed to learn some pretty hard lessons around that time and perhaps came to value the flexibility and adaptability of humans a little bit more. Probably the most prominent example from that period of time was the infamous Flufferbot, which was a machine designed by Tesla to use a vision system to add a fiberglass mat, or what Elon said was essentially fluff, to the top of the battery pack for sound insulation, but Flufferbot would have trouble picking and placing that mat, causing production to slow down, and then the cherry on top, Tesla actually found that there was no difference in sound from using that insulation. That led to Elon saying humans are underrated, and we haven't heard quite as much from Tesla on automation of factories since that point in time, though obviously it is still one of their goals, and they are still looking for ways to simplify and improve the manufacturing process. The utilization of the giant casting machines for Model Y rather than multiple stamped pieces is just one recent example. I do wish Elon would have gone into a little bit more detail on this topic though. I think it's underappreciated, but as with most topics these days, maybe we'll learn a little bit more about this during Battery Day. The other quick thing that stuck out to me from Elon's comments was that there will be original engineering and design teams in China, not just converting over from American designs. Elon had briefly commented on this, I believe, at the Model 3 launch from Shanghai, when he said, quote, "I think something that would be super cool would be to, and so we're going to try to do it, would be to create a China design and engineering center to actually design an original car in China for worldwide consumption." End quote. So good to see basic reiteration of that concept with a little bit more certainty here. At the Cybertruck unveiling, or maybe he mentioned it at the Model Y unveiling about the Cybertruck unveiling, Elon said that that would be the last big product reveal for quite some time, and that this would be a year of execution towards Tesla's already announced products. But the excitement that there is going to be for the next product unveiling for Tesla, whether that's 2021 or 2022, is going to be insane. Interest in Tesla is just continuing to increase. The subscriber count of the subreddit can be a proxy for that. Heading into the Cybertruck event, it had about 550,000 subscribers. Now it has over 700,000, so let's call it 170,000 new subscribers just since last November. And the number of users holding Tesla stock in Robinhood has increased from about 120,000 to almost 400,000 now since November. So in another year or two, things are going to get pretty crazy. Anyway, that'll wrap it up for today. As always, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up for notifications. Also, make sure you're following me on Twitter at Tesla Podcast. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Friday, July 10th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.